Okay, so in this video, we're actually going to look at when do you want to use the Exclude tool. So we do have the option with any of our bank feed transactions, if anything is in here by error, okay, and there's a couple of different scenarios where there can be an error that occurs, that's the example of when we would want to use the Exclude tool. We covered in a previous video that, if a transaction comes through your bank account, your business bank account, it's for personal use, you don't necessarily want to exclude that transaction as long as all the information is correct, because we need to reconcile that account at the end of that month, the end of that statement period. So let's get into the first example of when we might exclude something. I'm looking at we're just labeled our test bank account here. And we have one transaction, and it says, on January 26, 2023, the description is Verizon Wireless. And we notice when we get all the way over here, it says that $127.63 was received. Now, just in this example, we're going to go off the assumption, let's just say in this example, if you're the business owner and you're looking at this and you're saying, well, I didn't receive $127.63. I actually spent $127.63. So an error like this can occur if you are manually importing your transactions. Sometimes those amounts can get flipped where it'll show up as received instead of spent. So if that occurs, instead of adding this transaction, we got to get rid of this somehow. So in that example, we would check the box there, and now we can simply exclude that transaction. So what that's going to do is it will exclude that transaction, so that transaction's not going to get added into our QuickBooks, because that's just a simply inaccurate transaction. We did not receive $127.63 from Verizon. I'll show you here in a second the other way that you might end up excluding a transaction. Okay, so here's the other example of when we might exclude. So now back in our test account, here we have two transactions, both on January 26th. They both say Verizon Wireless, and they both say that we spent $127.63. Now, this is an error that's more likely to occur. To be honest, it's going to be a pretty rare error, but it does happen every once in a while where bank feed, you've got your QuickBooks connected to your bank and they just send in a duplicate transaction. It can happen. Either that or you could have your bank connected to QuickBooks and maybe something happens with that connection. And then when you go to download transactions and import them from the bank's website into QuickBooks, you accidentally overlap by a day. And so maybe you include that January 26th in there, and you really didn't mean to. But the end result is you have two transactions to Verizon, but in reality, you only paid Verizon once on January 26th in the amount of $127.63. In that case, you could go ahead and exclude one, get rid of that, and then you can go in and categorize the remaining transaction, where you would open that up and say, hey, we're going to take that to utilities. You've got the one transaction in there to Verizon, and you've excluded the duplicate, so you're not double counting that. So that would be some examples of when to actually use that exclude tool. Thanks for watching the video. If you have any questions regarding QuickBooks Online, anything else regarding bookkeeping or accounting, have any tax questions, let us know. Thanks for watching. You can comment below if you have any of those questions, and we'd be happy to help. Thank you.